Hi, I'm Mr. Keycafer, and today we'll be talking about how to make a pinch pot. On the table here I have these scraps of clay which I'd like to combine. Oftentimes when we're working with clay we'll have to combine scraps together, and when we do that, if we were to look inside of here, we would often find that we would have cavities of air or an air pocket trapped inside. Even when you combine two pieces of clay together, you can sandwich and trap air in between by throwing clay down repeatedly, like this. We turn the clay inside out, and the air that is trapped on the inside can escape its way to the outside. A person should repeatedly throw this clay down for at least a half a minute. It forms a wedge sort of shape like you would place inside underneath a door to keep it from closing. This process, when we repeatedly drop or throw down the clay, is called wedging. You can check your clay. I still see a small cavity of air here and there. This is a larger piece, a little air pocket like that. When trapped inside a clay, would expand when heated, and the clay would shrink as it dries and when it's heated. So we really want to make sure that all air pockets are removed to keep our clay from breaking when fired in the kiln later on. Now, I have some prepared round air-free balls of clay, and if I were to draw an illustration of that up here, it would be a round circle. If I were to cut one of these balls in half, this one has an air pocket inside of it. What I need to do is wedge that now. Hi. My daughter's down here checking this out. Why don't you come on over here by Daddy?
Okay. This is cool.
This is cool. So when we do a cross section, we see what's happening inside of this right here. So Daddy's showing people how to make a pinch pot. The first step when making a pinch pot is to wedge it and get all the air out of it and round it. It doesn't have to be perfectly round. It should fit within your hands like so. I'm going to press my thumb into here, past halfway, but not all the way through the bottom. And if I were to cut this open to show you what's happening inside, it would look like this, where I've pressed my thumb past halfway, but not all the way through the bottom. You see that, Annalise?
I see it.
All right. If I were to draw that over here on this board, it would look like that, where I pressed my thumb into it, not all the way through it, but down past halfway. I'm going to start over again. Now, when you're doing this yourself, you're not going to have to cut your clay in half each time. I'm just doing that to demonstrate, and I'm drawing that over there to illustrate what's happening inside this ball of clay as I form it. Now, it's called a pinch pot because I'm going to be using my thumb and my forefingers to pinch, kind of like I'm working a puppet, making it talk. And I want to pinch and turn. Every time I pinch, I just want to turn it a little bit, and I want to begin by spreading the clay along the bottom.
What?
Every time I pinch, I want to turn, and every time I pinch and turn, I'm spreading the clay along the bottom. Let's see what's happening along the bottom here.
Look, Daddy.
Look at that. Now, it's spread right along the base here. I've spread that so it's around 1/4 of an inch thick.
I got my pillow, Daddy.
You got your pillow? That's beautiful. Now, if you notice in my drawing here, no, it's not perfect, but I want to illustrate that from here all the way over from here over to there, that is where I'm focusing in on spreading the clay at first. So starting over again, I must say, you're not starting over each time you're doing a different move with this process. I'm just starting over each time because I am cutting my work in half. If I was just making a pinch pot, I'd go from one step to the next step to the next step, and I would never be cutting my work in half. So I'm pinching and turning and spreading the clay along the bottom. Next I want to focus in on pinching and spreading the clay along the sides. You know, I'm going to
Why are you
keep this.
doing
Why am I doing this? I have to keep the opening small, otherwise I'd end up with a pinch plate. Let's say I grabbed a piece of clay here and I just started to pinch at this. And I wasn't focused in on first working at the bottom and then the sides and then the top. I don't have a bowl here, right? I have a big old pinch plate. It looks like a pizza pie. I've just flattened it out. When I'm making a pinch pot, I want to focus in on keeping this opening small. So
Why are you?
as I pinch and turn, every time I pinch I want to turn, I want to spread the clay. I'm not squeezing, I don't want this all to look dented up. I'm keeping my four fingers together so that I don't have all these dented impressions. Let's cut this in half here. At this point you'd see it spread along the bottom and I've started to spread along the sides, but the top here is still thick, my opening is still narrow. Let's draw an illustration here. It would look narrow at the top yet, a little bit of thickness, but all through the sides, all along the bottom, all that clay is spread. By keeping this opening small at the top, it keeps it from spreading out wider. It can grow taller rather than just becoming a plate. It's becoming more of a pot. Now, on this last one here, I'm going to go through the full process from a round air-free ball of clay, pressing my finger or thumb past halfway through the middle, but not all the way through the bottom. Obviously, I don't want to have a hole in there. Focusing on spreading the clay along the bottom. Next here, look at, I'm focusing on these side areas. And then finally here, I just need to pinch and spread the clay there and there. So, alright, got a round air-free ball of clay. I want to press my thumb or my finger in here past halfway, but not all the way through the bottom. I already have a container here. I could pour something in there and pour it back out, but my walls are too thick. I need to start spreading those by pinching. Pinching and turning and spreading the clay along the bottom. And then I'm going to go right into pinching and turning and spreading the clay along the sides. And then finally, after that, after I've spread the bottom and the sides, I want to start pinching and turning and spreading the clay around the opening. Now, here as we really start to flour and open this around the top, it's going to really spread and it might start to stretch and split the clay a little bit. There are a few tips here. There are a few instructions that are really important. Once you get to this point, I made a big mess here. Let me get this all out of the way. I want to turn this upside down so it's more like an igloo. Thanks for the extra light there. I want to use both of my hands here, and I want to compress this down onto the table. I'm not trying to smash it down. I got my heels of my hands also hitting the table at the same time, but what that's going to do is compress this bowl down so it's all flat along the top here. Then I'm going to come along and I'm going to work my way around and trying to blend back together any area where it might have split. Thank you, Annalise, for the extra light. You are a spectacular helper. So, I'm smearing as I pinch and turn and spread the clay. And, I want to look at this from many different angles. Is it round or around like this? Is it very dome-like? If I had two of these, would it look like a ball? Eventually, ultimately, what I want this to look like is if I had a sphere cut in half. A nice bowl-like shape. Is it flat across the top? I got some